And we're live. Hello and welcome. This is the 101st week. I've been streaming live every Tuesday, 34th episode of Game Theory Gang. This is going to be a good one because we have our special guests, Abit Hex and Black Hexakin of the 5555 tour and much, much more. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mary, for having the KSB TV team here on your channel. I love your show, so I'm a big fan, and I'm really proud to be on it. Hex Lion will be here in about 25 minutes. He just texted me that he runs late, but he will join us in a couple of minutes.
Awesome. Well, I know we've got a lot to cover today. There's been a lot going on in the crypto space, and then you've been busy making seasons and seasons of brilliant content. You guys have also done your homework on all of the things that have been airdropped to Hexicans. I just practiced for the first time turning my dogs into Bitcoins and all that good kind of stuff. So I think today's show will definitely cover everything you guys are doing, and I also want to talk a little bit about what the situation is with the games people can play with Pulse Dogecoin. People can claim their PP tokens. There's all kinds of stuff going on right now. So with that being said, I'm going to do our 1-second intro, and then we can get started if I can find it here. There we go. All right, hit the like and subscribe button, and awesome. So what have you guys been up to? What can we help promote here?
Well, let me start with my project, which is the KSB TV 5555 tour documentary, right? I was just able to get all the content, which is terabytes and terabytes of SD cards, to look through. And now I started editing them. And while I'm editing, I'm thinking about what is the right rollout strategy, how many seasons, and so on. And everything comes along really organically. I'm doing my decisions and so on. So every single day, I'm working 12 hours to present those amazing stories that I heard already on the 5555 tour to the community. And yeah, this is taking the most of my time. Episode 4 has been released 2 days ago, and today, after this show here, the episode 5, the finale of the first season, will release. I'm really excited for that. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that later, but yeah, this is all I'm working on right now.
Yeah, the content that you guys put together is super well done, and I guess it's part of what you're calling your documentary of the 5555 tour. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So because it's so much content and I do not want to give it to anybody else, but just do it myself, I think I will look through it, edit it, roll the seasons out. And then once we have like 5 or 6 seasons, maybe 40 or 50 videos, so a lot of testimonials, then I know, okay, what are the best speakers and what are the best scenes for the grand documentary, basically the very finale one with the very best cuts. But until then, we have a lot of short ones and amazing testimonials that I'm able to present to the Hex community already.
Awesome. Yeah, and I've got all your links in the description below for people to check out that content and add it to their watch list.
So right now, only the first season is published, right? Every other day, a new episode starts. The second season will start in 2 days, but members of the KSB TV YouTube channel, they can already watch all the content that is finished and uploaded on YouTube already before it is released. So maybe if you want to do that, it's $1.99. You can join KSB TV membership and watch all the episodes and seasons up front.
Cool.
So yeah, and so this is everything I'm working on. This is the reason why we are on stream so much and stuff like this. And I will at any second of the stream try to show this specific project. But what is another really big part of KSB TV is what Kaylin and Hexline working on most of the time, which is the Hex birthday, for example, or the Hex cruise. We can speak about that later on as well. But first of all, I think we should give Kaylin the word to talk about the Hex birthday and how successful it is already.
Sure.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw in that, like, I've been to lots of events that you guys have put on, and you guys did a great job. If anybody out there is watching this live or on the replay, why don't you leave a comment and say whether you've ever attended any of the events made by Crypto Sparbuck and their team. I know I went to 7 different cities, and you guys went to what, 40 something?
42 cities, yes. 42
42
workshops.
cities.
42 workshops, and between those workshops we also had casual meetups, we had sport events, we had all kinds of other events besides those 42 events. So it was crazy what we did.
Yeah. And ChrispyMan, did you say you went to some of those?
I did. I happened to make it up there to Boston for the Boston
Awesome.
one. And then you guys didn't put in the birthday party in New York City, I don't believe, but I was up there for that. So I've been to a few different things.
Yeah, we actually did put on the birthday party in New York.
Oh, that was you. See, I didn't even remember that. Thank you for reminding me. I'm glad I said it that way. Wow.
Yeah, I
Probably
think
was the best.
what inspired us repeating and wanting to celebrate the Hex birthday again this year is the response that we got when we did it last year. Last year, I think maybe like a month before Hex birthday, we knew that Richard was having his meetup in London, but we also knew that we weren't going to be able to make it. And, you know, it was a little bit of like jealousy, but also just the fact that we were going to be in a huge city in New York. And we were like, look, we can, what the Hexicans that don't go to London, you know, we can do our, a little small US based meetup. And it was a great success. We had over 100 people that came to that event. It was completely free. So that was something that was really special. Really about that whole tour was that the Crypto Sparkle team funded everything. And the different OGs that came, like Maddie and Kareem and all the different OGs that we got involved, they all kind of like chipped in to make sure that it was accessible to all the community. We appreciate that. We would love to be able to keep that, you know, energy going, but you know, things cost money, and we can't expect that you know, the OGs or whoever are just going to pay for everything. But that doesn't take away our desire to want to meet up and to get together, you know, for these special events. So when we were in Las Vegas hosting the Postmasters, we had the final day. We were all sitting at the hotel at this restaurant, and we were like, "Hey, what are we gonna do for Hex birthday?" And Yacht was there, and he loves San Diego, and Vince was there, and he lives in LA, and I live in San Diego. So it just kind of, you know, became an idea. How about we go to California and celebrate? And the guys, when they did the tour the first time and went through California, it was really rushed. They didn't really get to experience it and enjoy it. So we thought that this would be a great opportunity for me to bring them to my hometown to let them see it, but then to, you know, have another meetup for the West Coast, you know, to celebrate Hex and 3 years of 100% uptime. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting. Definitely people getting together in person is a different kind of experience than being online. And so even though there's a little bit of a cost to some of the meetups, it can still be right for some people.
Yeah.
And every single time we try to do something really, really big, this time we got a yacht with 40 people. And it is so amazing that this specific event is already sold out. So this shows me that the events are going really, really good. The Hexicans want to participate. And on the other 2 events that we are having on the birthday, for example, December 2nd, it's the Park and Nightclub. There are still plenty of tickets available, and the lowest ticket is only $25. So if you are around in San Diego, want to party with us, it's only $25 to attend, and I think everybody should come.
Yeah. We definitely tried to make our time in San Diego accessible to everybody. Of course, the yacht is sold out. It had, you know, a $200 ticket price, but on the first, we have a meetup at the hotel that has no cost. I mean, unless you drink, then you pay for your own beverages. Then on the actual Hex birthday, of course, the yacht is sold out, but that evening is the nightclub event. The cheapest ticket is $25. That's general admission. But by going through KSB, it's still kind of a semi like advantage, because instead of waiting in the long line, you get to walk in through the VIP entrance as if you had table service, even if you don't. So that was something that we worked out with the club to make sure that our Hexkins could come and be together no matter what price point you're at. So if you like, bottle service and nice sections and being right by the DJ, then we have that. But if you just want to be there so that you can wear your Hex merch and just vibe out seeing Hex up on the screens, then you can do that too. And then the next day on Saturday, we really wanted to have an event that was all inclusive to all branches of crypto. I think one thing that we learned from Postmasters is how many crypto enthusiasts there are that support Pulse Chain and that have came into the space because of Pulse Chain. And we should embrace these people, because at the end of the day, it's all about crypto onboarding and expanding the space as a whole. People are smart, and they're going to gravitate towards the projects that that pump their portfolios, right? So if Hex is the best project, they will come to Hex. By allowing the different NFT spaces and the gaming platforms and the other coins, meme coins or whatnot, to have an opportunity to come in and network. It has shown a lot of growth, especially, we can see it in our numbers of our network, of our reach. So that Saturday, we're having a crypto and cocktails day party. It is hosted by not only us, but Mintra, possibly Post Doge. We've been talking to them. We've been talking to a couple other people to see if they're interested in being a part of this event. And it really is just about celebrating crypto and the space as a whole, right? Bear markets are hard for everybody. So everybody kind of wants to discuss strategies of, how to build in this time to get ready for when, we see green candles again.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yep. So, any questions or anything?
Yeah, I'm looking in the chat here right now. Hex Live is saying, I will be at the Hex birthday. Super excited. I'm really excited as well. And I'm so excited that I'm even willing to fly around the globe to come to especially this parties. And I just talked to Yori lately. We do not do parties at all anymore, but it's amazing to every couple of months to go to a Hex party where you know everybody and you can party with founders. You can talk about your own strategy, about other strategies, and you actually get knowledgeable during those events. And that's, I think, the coolest ever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then Kellen, the last time we were talking about that, like one of the reasons why we do all of those events. What are one of the stories that we encountered just lately?
Yeah, I mean, it's a story that we hear all the time. I think I use the example of Hex Nurse just because they had their big stream, where they announced their baby. So congratulations to Hexo and to Hex Nurse. But I hear it in the ladies community all the time. CZ, for example, when we wanted to have our meetup at her house, Jay-Z was adamant, I want the Crypto Scrabble team to come to my house. And for the lady, it's just kind of like, who are these people? Who are these, not to just say nerds, but, computer people, right? Like they just spend all their time, behind these screens, and you want them to come to my house. But then when we got there, and she could see that it was a diverse group of women, of men, older, younger, all different nationalities and backgrounds, then you see that it's more than just PFPs. It's more than just, talking heads. It's real people. And that is what seems to get us women more involved in the community. I myself, didn't get active on Twitter and get really involved until I went to the meetup in Vegas. Hex Nurse said the same thing, CZ, the same thing. And if we want our space to grow and to, evolve into schools, to children and to women and to everyone, then we have to continue to have these social type building things. This is in all communities. This is in sororities, fraternities. That's where the real growth, when the community, comes together and builds connections where, they don't want to let it go. They want to see it succeed, and they're willing to give of themselves, without expectation of profit, just expectation of, love for the community.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I see this whole thing as a content creator, right? People like me, they watch our content. That's why they want to come to those events, probably. But when I am there to and talk about Hex to all the other Hexicans, it's always talking about, okay, how can we bring Hex forward? What is the next great event that we could plan? How is this going on YouTube and everything? Everybody is just helping each other. And we have seen that the last time in the golf tournament, which was a huge success for KSB TV as well, right? The golf tournament just made all of our events look small in the past because that was so professional. Again, thank you again for this amazing event. And now we are looking forward to have Dak's birthday. Maybe is there anything else you want to share? Maybe we can tell the viewers about our giveaway, about the ticket.
Yeah. So on November 6th, we are doing a nominations reveal stream. And since Maddie's not here, I guess I'll just keep on running my mouth and talk about what else we have going on. But on that stream, we are going to be giving away one of our VIP tickets to the nightclub event. This ticket has a value of $250. And basically all you need to do is go to the original Twitter post on our KSB Twitter page and like, retweet, and comment that you are able to physically attend. And one of those commenters will award them on our stream.
Nice.
The stream that I'm talking about, this nomination revealed stream, is because of something that our team created called the Hexia Awards. The Hexia Awards were created. I've heard this idea a lot of times. You'll be on Twitter and then you'll be like, oh, that's the funniest streamer, or that's, the hottest streamer, just any random way to categorize all the different content creators. And I thought it would be awesome to just show love and appreciation for all the different work that all the streamers and content creators are adding to the space. So we decided to do these Hexia Awards, where you can go and nominate your favorite streamer, content creator for one of these different categories. And then on the actual Hex cruise, we will announce the winners of these awards. We are hoping to be able to stream from the cruise boat, so that not only the people that are on the cruise can enjoy hearing who won these awards, but also the people back at home. So that's kind of another thing that we have going on right now. If you go to the ksb.tv page, you can nominate until November 5th. You can nominate who you would like to see win these awards. After this nomination period, then the top 5 in each category will be announced through this live stream that we're having. And then you'll have a couple months to vote for who should win. And it would be, wonderful for us to be able, as KSB, to be able to give them something wonderful if they win, either a trophy, or we've talked about NFT trophies. But for us, it's really about just showing these streamers and these content creators acknowledgement and appreciation for their countless efforts.
And we have really many categories, right? So many hexagons will be announced, and it's really about hexagon community members, not only content creators. We have categories about Twitter, for example, and so on and so on. So everybody basically can win, and everything will be announced on the Hex Cruise, right? So this is the big idea.
Yep. hexcruise.com if you want more information on the cruise. Right now, we have about 66 people already paid deposits, got their rooms booked, everything ready to go. We're hoping that we get, maybe 200 people on this cruise. The idea is to make some noise. That's what all of our events are about. Like, you don't see Avent without a Pulse chain or Hex shirt. You really don't see me without a Hex shirt or something. Wherever we go, we want to make noise. So if we're on this boat with 200 hexagons with our merch on, having a great time, I have a strong feeling that we're going to onboard, a substantial number of people just because our energy is so infectious. So that was kind of the idea about the cruise being stuck together, not this hotel, that hotel, and this Airbnb. It's just one boat where we just live it up for a few days.
Great idea. Yeah, critical mass.
Good to see you back, Betty. So yeah, I don't know if you caught, most of that. We kind of went through everything, the Hexia Awards. I think that Maddie All In fits quite a few of those categories really nicely. Best articulated game theory, most consistent. I mean, just like so many things. So, this is your channel. I'm hoping that there's some people out there that will go over to ksb.tv and give you some nominations, because I'd love to see you take down one of those categories.
Thank you. Yeah. Use all your votes to vote me for game theory. I would like that. And because Hexologist, he's the one who really is the most consistent on a daily basis.
He is pretty.
I probably am the most consistent weekly, but I don't want to split my vote there. That's the problem with voting. It's like needs to have direction. Anyway, and as soon as Patrick gets here, I'll definitely go through some updates for the product that I'm making to allow people to time lock their Pulse Chain and Pulse X tokens. That product gets more and more exciting the more the code gets written. So we'll save that for a little bit later in the show. What else would be helpful to cover now?
Well, this is one of those moments where I need to stress that everybody needs to go to KSB TV. Already 4 episodes have been released, right? And the first episode went really, really good, over 1,000 of views. And then the other episodes, they go more into depth of what the people are talking. There, they really tell about their story. And there we have a little bit less viewers. So people just probably still need to remember to go to all the other episodes and watch them too. So right after the stream, the next episode will release. That's where we will start, and then you can just click through your favorite episode and watch them all. That would be great. And obviously leave a comment as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody needs to get over there and subscribe to all these other fine channels. And that's another thing that I'm trying to do with the HEX conference that's coming up on its 3rd iteration here on January 6th through 9th is, I think last year we set the world record as a community for the number of channels that came together for one online crypto conference. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we do what it takes to beat our own world record from last year, this year coming up. We're about 2.25 months away from the 3rd online HEX conference. And so I'll be releasing more information about that coming up. But if somebody out there is not yet a crypto YouTuber and you want to become a crypto YouTuber, I did put out my first episode of how to be a YouTuber. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And I've got a Telegram open, t.me/HEX YouTube. And I think all of us discussed previously, to some extent, what people can do to get started. Do you guys have any tips and tricks that you want to drop now as to like people who are maybe just getting started or haven't gotten started yet with streaming? Like what words of encouragement or what tricks and tips do you have for people?
For me, the most important thing is that you just start and then you get better from there, because you will probably suck at the beginning. This is totally normal. And then once you do like 1% betterments during the weeks, during the times that you're doing the live streams, then you will get more comfortable. You will speak fluently and so on. And so the thing is just to be continuously working on your content, and then you will be doing good. What I see really often is that people procrastinate and don't do it, don't put content out because they are afraid that, okay, that doesn't look right, or no, I don't have this or this right. And you really just have to start doing it, and then from this on, you get better then.
That's great.
Yeah. And
we're gonna go around the room. Yeah.
I was saying try to be consistent. That seems to be key, especially if you want to actually build a following. They need to be able to depend on you. So whether you have a regular weekly schedule or daily schedule, just try to maintain it so that people know when to expect your content. And then I kind of like what Corey does as far as just reaching out to people. If you don't have a whole lot of content or people in your network, just start messaging people. Just tag them like, hey, I'd love to interview, I'd love to talk to you. So
great. Yeah, absolutely. ChrispyMan,
good advice. Yeah, I don't have a lot of great advice on how to stream.
Are you kidding me? You just started a channel and it's doing great.
Yeah, I know. But like someone once said, when you first start, you really suck. It does take some time.
On your channel. Are you kidding me?
I know. I got those puppies going. Yeah, I think everything that Abit said and these guys, yeah, I mean, those are the things that I think I like. I like being able to get consistent messaging, and I like being able to consistently watch certain shows, and everybody's going to be different. So I think streamers are going to be different for sure, but I also I like change. I like to see the change in attitude and the change maybe in worldview, but sometimes when somebody flips too fast, that throws me off a little bit. So I think it goes back to consistent messaging. Yeah, I guess I don't want to use any examples, but yeah, consistent messaging. So.
Somebody's asking if I'm streaming from a Toyota. I was streaming from a Tesla a few minutes ago, and then I changed to a Toyota just because it's ironic that one guy was getting called out by Richard for streaming from a Prius. But I'm not going to FUD Hex today, and so that's the only difference between this Toyota and the other one.
And how is the DeLorean doing, Matt?
Somebody's asking, how do I sell my Hex on the ETH? I just renewed the insurance on it today. I have a special adventure planned next week for the DeLorean. I don't think I can talk about it yet, but yeah, it's still rocking.
Have you picked a year?
For sure.
Well, I mean, you're going somewhere.
I picked a year. Well, yeah, exactly. Hopefully I don't break the timeline where we all get crypto right. So far, so good. Somebody's asking, how do I sell my Hex on the ETH Fair chain? That's a really good way to get wrecked. I don't know. How do you sell your Hex on the ETH Fair chain? That's a stupid idea.
If it's a stupid idea or not, first of all, I must say it's probably not worth that much, right? Like even for dolphins or sharks, let's so to say, it's not that much value on the Ethereum fair chain, or is that wrong?
No, that's true. But yeah, we should definitely tell people how to sell it so we can buy it cheaper. Let's see. So the way that you sell it is just go to, let me see, go to hexw dot, what's my blog? Just go to maddieallen.medium.com, and I have a whole article to explain in great detail how to safely connect to the ETHW chain, and then there's a section on how to connect to the ETH Fair chain, and spoiler alert, like the majority of the instructions that I give you for the ETH fair chain come directly from a certain Telegram group that somebody else runs, where they posted all the information that you need. So it's all organized there for you. It's hexw.info. That's what it is. Hexw.info is like the shortcut to get to my blog.
Nice, amazing, Mary, that you are able to provide that stuff for us, because I would be one of the ones to use this kind of tool to get my hex on the Ethereum fair side.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been doing is I bought and staked some Hex W and Hex F, so to speak. And I'm maintaining my stakes over there, like the ones that end. It's fun. It's good practice for Pulse Chain. It's it seems like a waste to let Hex on any chain just kind of like bleed out to the people who are playing the game. I might as well play the game. So, I think the Hex W and Hex F copies, I think those are really good examples of how Pulse Chain is going to kick ass. Although they don't kick ass as much as Pulse Chain will. Pulse Chain is going to be everything that everybody wants. These are proof of work. So it's it's not the best thing that ever got invented, but hey, it's an airdrop, it's free money, it's Hex on another chain. It is making history in a way. So
And
might be closer to Beanie Babies than anything else, but we'll see what Hex has to say. What were you saying?
You found it pretty easy to bridge in funds like new capital into both ETH Fair and ETH W?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really experienced when it comes to like going to a new exchange and signing up and throwing a little bit of ETH at the situation or a little bit of USDC and then being able to swap there and then send to like a new instance of MetaMask. So like new seed words and that sort of thing. Yeah, so and I try to write out all the instructions for people on my blog so that that could be as easy as possible for people who are still learning how to like connect to new networks and all that good kind of stuff.
Okay. I'm going to check out your
Patrick, what's up?
Hello, everybody. Hi, good night, good evening. How is everybody doing? I'm sorry that I'm a little bit late. I changed apartments today, but look, I have a stable internet connection again. Yay!
Very good.
Looking good.
Yeah, hi to see you. Hello, everybody on stream. Hi, Maddie. Hi, ChrispyMan. With Kaylin and David, I already talked today. Hi again, guys.
Hi, Patrick.
And I'm really happy to see you with a stable internet connection. This was really worrying me, but now everything is good.
Yeah,
Maybe we just need to throw some lights in your background and then we are good to go.
Actually, I have like two of, but it's not.
And
yeah.
You have not missed anything. We were just talking about the 55552 documentary and everything, how everything is rolling out on KSB TV. We talked about the Hex birthday, for example, and now we want to talk about Pulse Bitcoin and Pulse Dogecoin, for example, because our channel, Crypto Sparbook, was one of the few Hexican channels, so to say, that really publicized the free claim, for example, and exactly the system which a lot of Hexican actually really embraced. And Maddie would like to talk about this topic for example as well today.
Sure.
I heard you guys are the experts.
Yeah, sure. So, and Maddie, I know you are the expert in asking questions.
Yeah. So, I mean, so just for the audience at home, I tried for the first time last night to take some of my random Pulse Dogecoin wallets and, see what they could do with the new games that have been created by Hex Info. And so that was really interesting to play around with it last night. Of course, the GUI, the cost of using Ethereum was low, thankfully. And so I really got a chance to try to click all the buttons and see what everything does. And so I just got to do that for the first time. So I probably do have a bunch of questions that that are going to come up for me over time. But just to kind of summarize what my first take was, I was surprised at how cool it is to be able to take your Pulse Dogecoin, and then now you can do stuff with it. You can basically burn it in exchange for ASIC tokens, and the ASIC tokens can be used to, well, they're trading on Uniswap, and then they can also be used to make Pulse Bitcoin. And that's where you're locking up those ASIC tokens for 30 days at a time, not like 30 days. It's like based on when you start. Based on when you start, then it looks like you serve 30 days, and it tells you the amount of Pulse Bitcoin that you get. I also thought it was a nice little feature, even though the ASIC tokens will still, I think, be created as long as this 30 or 60 day time period exists
60,
for those
yes,
to be launched. And there's probably 50 days left of that or something.
Yeah, a little less, yeah.
Basically, like, because in order to use those ASIC tokens to create Pulse Bitcoin, there's like a tiny little fee that gets burnt there. That's a really interesting dynamic to make those tokens scarce as well over time. So you've got something that creates more scarcity with Pulse Dogecoin. You've got time locking in order to create Pulse Bitcoin, and you've got this ASIC token in the middle that seems to all create just an interesting game to play with the tokens that you got for free by buying and staking HEX.
And before Hexline starts, this is exactly my take on it as well, that you give one coin that you got for free and you get one coin that produces you another. So you get 2 for 1, basically, as Nagabo would say.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons why I'm talking about it and why I like the system is because Hex Info just comes out with good code, you know. If you look into that, there are no red flags in the code, there are no admin keys in the code is clean as well, everybody understands the system, you know. It wasn't like hard to understand the initial 100-day claim phase of Pulse Dogecoin. It is not hard to understand that you now can like burn your coins and get like a different kind of coin for it. The new decentralized application is, in my point of view, a easy to understand user interface, and I really think that something like Pulse Bitcoin could be the primarily meme coin in the next bull market, like it was Shiba and Dogecoin in the last one.
Very cool. And so and then there's like a bunch of rules about how Pulse Bitcoin can get mined, and it all just the narrative kind of fits with recreating Bitcoin on other networks.
It's more the narrative. The narrative is more software mining Bitcoin. It's like putting a Bitcoin in DeFi. That's like more or less the idea behind it.
And now this time, what is different with Pulse Dogecoin or Pulse Bitcoin, that it's not really just a meme. We have also a game theory behind it, right? The launch phase, for example, now where the Pulse Dogecoin will be able to transform for 60 days. So let's see what kind of mechanics then happens when you can only transform your Pulse Dogecoin in order to get ASIC miners, or you have to buy them on the market. But what I want to say is that it is not only meme coin, there is game theory behind it, and I'm really excited to how this will play out. One of the things, for example, is the halvenings. Bitcoin has mining, Pulse Bitcoin has halvenings, but in Pulse Bitcoin, it will roll out way, way quicker than it does in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Here's a
question.
The
first halvening is about expected to happen in like 9 months, 8 months.
One question I have is like, why is there a transform? Like, well, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. Like, I understand why there's a transform option for ASIC miners, I guess, for the ASIC token, but wouldn't it? And well, like, where? So, and that money, where does it go?
The transformation, there is nothing going anywhere, because with the transformation, you are actively burning your Pulse Doge coins by sending them to the zero address, the null address. And
Oh, but
that's
there's a
like
way that you can
essentially,
there's a way that you can
yes,
send
yes,
USDC and
yes,
Ethereum and Hex and stuff.
yeah. So
Is that
honestly,
not called transforming?
No, that's not called transforming. That is called making an ATM NFT. ATM is stands. I don't know what it stands for right now, but you can create an NFT, and this NFT has only in the first 30 days of the launch period. It's like auto locked, and then on the 20th of November, you can already choose to take your ASIC tokens from this NFT, or you can choose to wait as long as you want to redeem the NFT. And for $1 in crypto you send in, you get one ASIC token. And this is actually, if you don't have Pulse Doge already with the free claim, then those ATM NFTs would be my recommendation for an entry strategy. Because if you buy right now the ASIC token on the market, you buy like a little less than $1.38. But if you put, let's say, your 1,000 USDC into an ATM NFT, you will get 1,000 tokens and not like 40% less.
Interesting.
Maddie
What
is
we're
freezing right
seeing,
now. Looks like no.
what we're seeing right now is amazing, Patrick. I'm not so up to date with my numbers, but there were 6 million Pulse Dogecoin, and now I think almost 50% has been burned. Right? Like I think this
Yeah,
is
like
incredible.
46% or something like that already.
So,
somebody was saying this was the most successful burning of coins at all.
It's kind of true.
so the transformation. So the ATM is one way that the founder gets paid, or what?
Yeah, if you make an ATM, this money you put into the NFT gets to the BA address, like we don't know, like in Hex, like who is controlling it, and I don't want to put like the assumption audit out there or something like that. You can look up like what the address of the BA is, like the Hedron deployer or the Hex OA and all that stuff. It's kind of in this league of addresses. And you can, if you want to know like where your money goes and what happens with your money, you can watch the movement of this address. So you just make the NFT and then you can watch your money, what is done with it, for example, if you want to.
And then so there's like a free floating market price, like basically you get 5 ASIC for one Pulse Bitcoin,
For
one Pulse Dogecoin,
one Pulse
or is that not
Doge,
true?
yeah. Or you get one ASIC for $1.38 right now on Uniswap as well. Or only in the first 30 days you have the opportunity to create such an NFT. And some people are making kind of a NFT ladder, because with every halvening you would get another 1x more of your ASIC. So after the first halvening, let's see, you have put it in 1,000 USDC, so 1,000 ASIC tokens. After the first halvening, it would be 2,000. After the second, it would be 3,000. After the third, it would be 4,000, and so on. And
So we kind
that's
of
why some people are making a few NFTs.
So we're kind of starting to see a price for Pulse Bitcoin, even though it doesn't exist freely on the market yet, because of almost like the like, you could almost look at it as like a warrant, like one of those like time bond things on the stock market, where you're like, you're saying it's $1.38 to get an ASIC token on Uniswap. And the only reason somebody would pay more than $1 that they could just transform is because they're able to get the Pulse, they're able to get
Bitcoin
the ASIC
earlier.
tokens early so that they can
So
mine the Pulse Bitcoin. And
yeah.
so that's fascinating. That's some
Yeah,
game
but
theory shit right there.
actually it's yes and no, because actually it is just like the stupidity of the crypto market, because nobody is able to do math. Because if you do the math right, you would just see that if you do a NFT right now, in the end of the third month of the third circle, you mining, you will already have more Pulse Bitcoin as if you start with your 1,000 USDC right now at $1.40.
It'd be the same or it'd be more.
No, if you buy your 1,000 US, if you buy ASIC with 1,000 USDC, then you get like fuck, what is that? 1,000 divided by 1.4. Let me look that up real quick. 1.4. That's 714. And if you do the NFT, you will get 1,000 tokens in 3 weeks from now, less than 3 weeks from now.
In 3 weeks,
Only
okay.
and those, yeah, yeah, because on the 20th of November, after the 30th day of the launch period, you are already able to redeem your NFT if you want to do so.
Oh,
So
so that doesn't wait another 30 days from when you buy it. It
no,
is counting
that
down for
doesn't wait another
everybody.
30 day. It's coming down for everybody on the 30th day. I was
Okay.
wrong on that. Yeah, so that was like a misunderstanding from the white paper. Because it says two times like after the 30-day launch period. So it's already confirmed that on the 20th of November in our time zone, like somewhat in the afternoon, it will be able to, you will see like this redeem button open. So when you make an NFT, then you see it in the ATM section. Just scroll down a little bit, and on the right side of your ATM, you see the actions field, and there you can like redeem the ASIC token. And right now, this last redeem button is like great. So it's not available because the smart contract is just working. It's programmed like that. So automatically it will show up and be able on the 20th without any human interaction needed.
So do you guys think this whole transform thing is kind of creating almost like a floor price on what Pulse,
Pulse Bitcoin might be.
Dogecoin, and ASIC?
I hope.
No, like what because like what I'm thinking is if there wasn't a transform thing, then for people, or sorry, I keep saying transform thing. If there wasn't an ATM
Mm-hmm.
thing, then then you'd have to buy Pulse Bitcoin or ASIC tokens on the market, and it would be whatever
Yeah,
rate got set for that, which would be
yeah,
defined
it
as we know
might
it
be higher.
now by Pulse Dogecoin supply would cap the ASIC supply because you can always trade one. Well, for this period, this launch phase, you can always trade one Pulse Dogecoin for 5 ASIC tokens, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if it's kind of a double-edged sword where you guys think that it would be if like that ATM thing didn't exist, where you could sacrifice all these coins for us for one ASIC for $1, that Pulse Pulse Dogecoin would be pumping harder, but also would be able to fall back down harder.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I don't know like what will happen after Christmas and onwards, but it's definitely a three token system with where each and every token fits a purpose. Pulse Doge will just fit the purpose of a really rare meme coin. ASIC token will always serve the purpose. Okay, you can mine with it, you can do something with it and earn interest on it, like with Hex or Hedron or Icosa, for example. And the Pulse Bitcoin will always have like this Bitcoin narrative, with this software mining Pulse Bitcoin. And I don't know what is the floor price. I don't think it will be more than $13 because that's like kind of the floor price what you need to invest to get one Pulse Bitcoin for 1 month. Yeah, but those $13 you invested in ASIC tokens, and you can mine more than just 1 month with it. So that's why I would expect $13 kind of a all-time high until the first halvening maybe. And I also expect like at least $1. That's also a thing what I am expecting. So I think that there won't be too much people from those people who are getting Pulse Bitcoin in the beginning, willing to straight up dump that. Because with software mining Bitcoin, you don't have that much externalities. So there is no miner who needs to pay for hardware or for labor or for electricity bills. So I don't see
That's a good
this
point.
community dumping it down right away. And within the first week, so like until the end of November, we will already see like 600 700,000 Pulse Bitcoin being mined, and then let's see what the market decides. But to it will definitely start with low liquidity, and you see that with a lot of coins with low liquidity, when they come out, people are just not thinking, they are just like pressing the buy button sometimes, and there will be those buyers, who just straight up buy Pulse Bitcoin and don't even bother with mining. And there will be also those people who are already mining Pulse Bitcoin who will watch the price, and if they think like, okay, less than $2 is like a buying price for them, then they will buy it up until it has $2.
What about the ASIC token itself? It's deflationary, and there could be periods where people have locked up all the coins, and that could even go on a little
It
run.
has a deflationary characteristic. I'm really straight with this deflationary part because as it looks like Pulse X will be really deflationary because the highest amount of coins will be given out in the beginning, and from there it only shrinks, and that's like the definition of deflation. And with the ASIC token, always it could happen in the future that somebody is just ending an NFT, thus making the ASIC token supply higher from one day to the next day, until more and more people renew their miners, and then they pay their little ASIC fees, and then we reduce the total supply again. But that's why it only has a deflationary characteristic, and it's not deflationary by default.
But how the game theory is set up that every single time you end your 30-day period,
Well,
you have to
I'm calling the
burn
plot
the little
twist
fee,
that
right?
ASIC could go on a run.
Yeah, totally possible. But Patrick, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Yeah, exactly. To use
2.5% fee,
the ASIC token as it's designed.
that should make the number go down for sure.
And yes, Maddie,
I think
it's
so too.
absolutely possible,
And the fact that
especially
people are
if
locking it up so many times.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why. So if the Pulse Bitcoin price reaches already like a few dollars in the beginning, then people will just do basic math and just think, okay, if I just buy this ASIC token and mine like Pulse Bitcoin for 4 months, all my ASIC tokens are refinanced, for example, and I already have like 2 tokens with good value. So yes, that's why we are speaking about it, because I see interest there. And another thing why I like it, I see a decorrelation to Hex and Hedron and Icasa. So I like a coin which has a decorrelation to that. Lots of hexicans just dump their free claim, so it's not
That's some good
moving that
alpha.
much up and down with Hex and Hedron.
And Patrick, I have one
excellent
question
point.
here in the stream. When it comes to the NFTs and people are creating the NFTs, what would you recommend? Would you recommend minting them into ASIC miners, or would you say leave them for a couple of halvings and then make them into ASIC miner? What is your idea on that?
So it depends a little bit. If you want to speculate on the price of the ASIC token, then yes, of course you could wait. But keep in mind, only after the halvening you have the additional X. So that could take like 8 months to the first halvening. That could take from there on also years until the next halvening comes. And the other thing where it might be like beneficial is if you are in a country with a tax system where if you just buy it and leave it after a certain time, you might be able to sell it tax-free. And if you're doing mining instead, you would like need to pay income tax on that every month maybe. Then it would be also a better play to just keep the NFT, or make, for example, I don't know, 5 NFTs with $200 each on the weekend when the fees are really low. Then you can just like redeem one right now, and also because you need to see that most of the Pulse Bitcoin of those 20 million pieces will be mined until the first halving, as it was with Bitcoin itself as well. So that's why I can totally see it that people might rush into the ASIC token, because I don't know, maybe over 90% of the ASIC token will be locked up in mining. So there won't be much like available on the market. And then if people joining and also want to get their miners running, it could be a run for the ASIC token.
Absolutely. And now, is there an end to when Pulse Dogecoin can be used to enter the system for Pulse Bitcoin?
I don't think
49
so.
days
I
indeed.
guess the Pulse Dogecoin is I don't want to say like it's kind of done after those 60 days, but let's see what the community will accomplish after the 60 days. I expect like 50% or maybe a few percent more of burning of the total supply. And then I also think that especially the big people in the system, in Pulse Doge and ASIC token and Pulse Bitcoin, that they will look to get their bag of Pulse Doge back, which they burned right now. So I think so. Yeah, maybe they only want to get back like their position percentage wise, so they only need to get like 50% of their original position back. Maybe they want to have like the same amount of coins. Then yeah.
But Patrick, I think what Maddie was mentioning here was the possibility to transform your Pulse Dogecoin. And there's something else dropping from Hex Info's Twitter all the time, and it's called Pulse Litecoin. So maybe in the future you can use your Pulse Dogecoin to transform for Pulse Litecoin. I don't know, just one idea. But also there's Pulse Litecoin coming out in the future. Do you have an idea about that? Like the ASIC miners could be used to mine that as well, and what could do that for the system?
Yeah, so that would be like something which gives the ASIC tokens even more value, and it would just make sense for me, because okay, this is you're like your ASIC mining operation token, and you can mine like more than just one coin with it. But if he makes like some game theory with Pulse Dogecoin there as well, I don't know. And like just thinking about it, I'm not sure if you should do that, like making another burning and transforming phase there, for example, because then you would just dilute the total supply or the price of the ASIC token a little bit, maybe.
Interesting. That's all really fascinating stuff. And I think if we go based on like how do these systems work, like IRL currently, that it might be a combination of a new strategy and what already exists. So like, Litecoin, what that can't isn't that something that uses the same hashing algorithm as Bitcoin does, and it was a fork of Bitcoin. So maybe in this case, maybe this will not be a fork of Pulse Bitcoin. Maybe it will. That I could see that going either way. But having the ASIC token as something as like an intermediary between the two, that would be a really cool setup. I could also see like Hex Info expanding beyond just the first ASIC token, because we know that ASICs themselves come in many different forms that mine different cryptocurrencies. So for example, Mimblewimble coin is mined by a different hashing algorithm than is used in the Bitcoin hashing. And Ethereum's different than Bitcoin as well, I believe. So SHA-256 is what
Yeah.
Bitcoin uses, and then other protocols use, SHA-290. I'm just making that up, but like it's just kind of different ways
Yeah,
to achieve the
different.
same
Yeah.
mathematical proofs that
Yeah.
that
And
relate to
this
different
this was
circuits,
also
actually
it. Yeah.
different circuit boards.
What it leads to is also that the different blockchains needed to change the mining algorithm in order to prevent the blockchain from so-called 51% attacks, and that's one of the main reasons why they have like different mining algorithms.
Yeah. So yeah, so this is a fascinating bit of game theory that I've just become aware of, by playing around with it last night, and then
Mm-hmm.
hearing what you guys have had to say about it. So that's great. Yeah, thanks for educating everybody about this.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there is just
Um,
like a lot of hate in the community because of things what Wolverine Günther might have done, but as if you're looking at the facts, it's not that his wallets are like wash trading anything there. He's doing giveaways, he's trying to grow his Twitter as fast as possible and does a good job with it, and he's not the creator of these coins or this ecosystem that is still Hex info. Günther is just like, yeah, a big holder of it.
yeah, well, and people who got Pulse Dogecoin because they time locked Hex, that's something that, how can you argue with free money? And if people are choosing to promote it, then as long as they're not getting people wrecked and not doing anything immoral, it you should see it as like, oh, that helped me out, because I got to buy more Hex, or I got to get more USDC out of the system or something. For me, I unfortunately sold. I kept selling dollar cost averaging out of Pulse Dogecoin up until this event. And, I don't feel that bad about it either, because I got more Hex out of it. I got more USDC out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for all that.
Mm-hmm.
I did keep some of my Pulse Dogecoin. I don't like to sell things all at once. I like to sell over a long period of time, slowly, and
Mm-hmm.
and so
And
that's it's still something I can play around with.
And with this, we probably made a pretty good move, right? Pulse Dogecoin was going up until just last week. We had an all-time high again, so this was great. So you probably have a good financial energy on the sidelines where you want to consider getting some dogs again.
Some of my onboards who like didn't touch their coins are like freaking doing really well right now, let's say, because they've
Yeah,
got so much Pulse Dogecoin.
one more thing for your audience, Maddie. If you got like an airdrop with about 100 Pulse Dogecoins or below that, I would just keep the Pulse Dogecoin. So, for example, for the kids in my family, my nieces and nephews, for Christmas 2020, I made the mistake. No, I made them a steak. It
Mm-hmm.
sounded like differently
Yeah.
right now. And like 15 years or in 15 year for their birthday, like a little less than 5555. And with this steak, I got the free Hedron. Then when the ICOSA system came up, I minted the Hedron and made a WhatsApp NFT with that. And then I claimed the Pulse Doge coins, and I will do nothing with this wallet. It's just like I do only set it and kind of forget it stuff with those wallets of the kids from the family. And there I just bet on the continuous price appreciation of Pulse Dogecoin, because it became like really even more rare, over
I've done
those
that
years.
too, where I manage accounts that I've gifted to people, to family members for the holidays, and that leads into another topic. Is that just today I started claiming PP token for all the accounts that I've got that sacrificed for Pulse Chain or Pulse X, because I did a bunch of those too. And the first thing I did is I went to the Pulse Police Telegram, t.me/pulse police, and looked to see that there were no red flags on the the poor pleb token, and we had Hexi Bastard on this show on a Tuesday night about 2 or 3 months ago. But today the coins are available to free claim if you sacrificed for Pulse Chain or Pulse X or some other projects, and also if you held in between $1 and $1,000 worth of Hex or other tokens before a certain date. And so
But
people can go
isn't
to
with the sacrifice, it's only like
poorpleb.win.
until, or and with the sacrifices, it's only like if you sacrificed less than $1,000 or something like that, right?
Yeah, so anybody who did what I said to do and create a shitload of accounts to be able to farm airdrops from people airdropping to people who have like 1 TShare, 10 TShares, and I sacrificed a bunch of wallets like with like $30 for Pulse Chain and stuff like that. So that's yeah. So basically, what you got from this so far is, when I looked earlier today, it was about $11 worth of poor pleb token, and you know, that's an interesting amount for an airdrop to give, because this is the biggest. You could call it free claim. This is like the biggest free claim that's ever happened with the Pulse Chain airdrop set, plus more, plus other communities. Like, I think that there were at least 1 million users who qualified for this. I think it's really cool that hopefully I'm not freezing. I think it's cool that claiming when gas is low can be done for as little as about $1. And even if gas is like medium, it's like $3. And then if you wanted to send the token somewhere, or you wanted to swap them, that might cost you $5 or $10 to swap. And so it really sets a nice floor price for like the poor plebs to just hold on to what they have. And then, you know, I'm not speculating really as to whether the token will do well or not, because meme tokens are very plentiful, and this one seems to be done particularly well. But it's a very competitive space, I believe, and I'm pleased that people who sacrificed or held Hex, that those people are being rewarded by somebody who's you know, doing this type of thing so well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, just like post Dogecoin, post Bitcoin, free money is always great, and especially if it benefits the hex takers, right? And also the full chain sacrificers. I have not looked into PP coin yet. I've just heard the hex community talking about it, and this is like one of the first indicators that the community actually wants that and wants to go with that. If it has all the parameters that we like, with no admin keys and so on, then I'm all for it. And I'm just assuming that it has, because otherwise you wouldn't bring it up, Maddie, right?
I mean, I haven't done exhaustive research. I went to like top holders, and I saw that there's an account that has a huge amount. I also saw that that the Pulse Police pointed that out. So that's, I mean, that's something that I would be cautious of in any token. That would be like a yellow flag for me. Would be a large supply. If I had applied that to
So
Hex, I mean, it'd be different.
yeah,
But
that's what be my asking about my question right
we have
now.
a
So
billionaire.
does Hex
We
have
have
a yellow
somebody.
rag, you know?
We have somebody in Richard Hart, who I believe to be a billionaire, who I believe doesn't need to sell his Hex, and is doing it more. Found ways to monetize his idea, like maybe the Ethereum, you know, like that got collected, and just doing well from Bitcoin in the first place. Personally, that he doesn't have to sell Hex, whereas I think other people would be more inclined than a billionaire to sell. And I also think that a lot of people, they like don't know what they would do with tens of millions of dollars worth of coins until they actually have them. Like, you can you can think that you're not going to dump on people's heads, but then I think the psychology changes a lot you actually once you actually have the coins in your wallet.
Yeah, Maddie, but one thing against that is, do you really believe that those founders are only programming their address and then never buy their own token? Because I'm pretty sure that so that's my personal speculation. So not I'm pretty sure. My personal speculation is that Richard Hart also has his personal hex, which he bought with some wallets on a decentralized exchange like Uniswap in the beginning. I also think that Richard Hart himself is a big liquidity provider. Just my speculation. And same thing goes, for example, for Pulse Dogecoin, and maybe same thing might go for something like Poor Pleb, because I would assume that the founder might know best when most of the cells are gone.
Sure, that's a possibility. I mean, having a meme token with no utility, you might ask, like, why are you so worried about like having a whole extra supply after you already did a whole sacrifice? Maybe maybe that's not a situation where you're worried about like a vampire attack or like some sort of where you have to like do a defensive fork. That's always been the reason why I liked the OA, is because it um, diluted everybody and could do the right thing, and is part of the security model, I believe, is important. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see with all these things how they play out.
Mhm. Yeah, and then like when it comes to Poor Pleb, I like what Hexi Bastard is doing there. Honestly, I like his memes. He does some great artwork, and with the tokenomics of Pool Pleb, he also is trying to get different kinds of communities. What I also like, and I'm curious to find out if it plays out, for him. But because of the tokenomics and how it's built up, I don't see like a really good price performance there. But that might be the case. For example, if they if they put the liquidity together with Pulse and Pulse X, when Pulse and Pulse X have like kind of their all-time low, then they would push each other's prices. So then only if
That's a good idea.
people from PP token are swapping out of it, or swapping it to Hex, for example, only then the price would go down. And if nobody does anything, they would just get elevated up together with Pulse and Pulse X.
Awesome. Now, I gotta ask you guys about something else. Um, what's up with these perpetuals being on discount?
I've looked into this topic for a couple of weeks, and I was a little bit of struck when I saw that Maxi was going down as well. Decky was in a discount. I did not expect that. First, when everything came out, I was like a little bit sad that I did not have my hex available, and now this was a good opportunity to scoop a little bit up.
Yeah, so I think I mean we mentioned that in the first place. So when we talked about the perpetuals, we mentioned that it might be that in the beginning they go in a discount, not like Maxi, because people are just going in there, expect a quick return of investment, like Maxi had, with like 40 years of interest premium in it at 2.5 hex per Maxi at the top. And we also
Wow.
advised everybody to not buy Maxi around that time. Maxi also looked like it reached its low yesterday. It went down to 5% premium, and then now it's, I guess, like a 10% premium again. And
Interesting.
when it comes to the other perpetuals, with Stacy especially, I saw like I saw, but you kind of saw the movements, that there are traders just getting in because they saw what Maxi did and hoped for the same thing, and that's why we have those discounts right now as well, because they are just like getting back to Hex, and they are just aiming for a one-to-one get back, even if there is already a little bit of interest, and yeah, a great opportunity for the rest of the market, but I am not sure anymore if we will really see those premium discounts moves over the timeline. It could just be that we are seeing them on a little discount until they are nearly done, and then they would reach like parity 2 weeks before, for example.
But the funny thing is, in the beginning, even Dipcatcher was saying, well, look, Maxi did amazing, right? Amazing performance. And then when the Perpetuals came out, everybody was expecting, like Patrick saying, it's going to be just like Maxi. And funny enough, in crypto, you always have the situation when everybody expecting this, then something else comes out. And this time it actually happened like Dipcatcher was saying, like the market decided to give it a discount and not have it a run up like Maxi did. But I'm confident
ChrispyMan, what
that
are
we
you
will
saying
see.
to that? ChrispyMan with
confident that we will see it.
HexFire.io. I think he has to say something about the Perpetuals as well. We didn't heard anything from him. I didn't even say hello to him. Hi,
Hey,
Crispy.
Patrick, how are you?
How are
I'm
you?
I'm tracking it as well, and looking at that. You know what that is. So my strategy has been to wait for a discount and then decide if I want to go into those or not. And look, it makes sense to go in. I think the only downside I might have to ride it out longer than I might want to, depending on liquidity. But I've got 15 years, so.
Yeah.
Or 10, for
yeah.
Desi.
So where we especially advertised it is like compared to term staking, because compared to term staking, you're definitely doing better in all of the perpetuals as well, and that was our main comparison. But yes, as you say, you might write it off a little bit longer than you thought so, but actually, for a small portfolio, there is enough liquidity to get out, but you might need to wait a little bit more until the market decides to put it out of the discount, for example. And those times might happen, So crypto markets are the best example when it comes to over and under reactions. So it might be that something like Dezi is on a 10% discount, and then everybody suddenly talks about it again, and then it shoots up to a 10% premium. And yeah, and when I talk about like premium and discount, I'm always referring to the treasury value, not to the hex to perpetual ratio. So the ratio, I still think, will climb up over time, especially when those perpetuals reach a discount of 10%. And this happens, let's say, like in a couple of months from now, then it is way better to buy the perpetual than just to stake the hex normally for this period of time, because you get the way more shares, because those perpetuals have the locked in share rate of a month ago.
Right.
And I think how you should see it is that these perpetuals are the perfect tool to not have any end stakes to pay, right? The gas fees go down to zero. So as closer we come to one of those redeem events, you should really look into it and see if it's a discount, scoop some up, because that's the perfect opportunity to get those cheap shares, just like Hexline was just mentioning it. So if you buy those perpetuals to really redeem your hex, I think that's the perfect play.
Yes and no. It depends again, like about your tax jurisdiction, because we also put it up this topic for the German audience, because in their tax law, if you buy a coin, hold it longer than a year, it's tax free, and then it's perfect if you go like with something like Maxi or Dezi, and then if you want to, you just like before the redeem phase is reached, you are just selling it on the open market, because that way you never kind of interacted with HEX for the for the tax from the tax perspective, because you just bought a coin and then sold this coin, but in the background you also made like this HEX interest. So and you don't need to pay any taxes after that. But yeah, always talk to a accountant with that. But that was also a reason why we as the kind of leaders from the German community are talked about that more than others.
Awesome. Yeah, excellent points.
So ChrispyMan, when should we make our
So
new next stakes? When,
yeah, that covers
when should
something
we be done with
interesting
the
that's been
next?
going on.
With this? Yeah.
Are you asking the same question, Matty? Okay, maybe that got
Go
broken
ahead,
up.
I'm cutting out.
Okay. Yeah, Hexline, Patrick, you know, you follow this information probably as well as I do, but looking at things will be pretty calm. Normal rise, you know, in terms of T-share rate, and normal being that 6 to 12 a day type of rise. Right through about February, right till Valentine's Day, and then right after that, we'll probably get our next big step up. Probably.
Actually, the OA stakes, some of those would be already able to end stake, or still not.
Yeah, well, we had one that came up a few several days ago on the 22nd, and the OA did not take action. And then the next day, somebody came along and G8'd it for them, could have counted it. So they returned the
And the next day
TShares.
already?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was definitely not John Wick, because John Wick told me that he won't do that again.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like not that early, you know, not that early.
Yeah. It's probably, you know, listen, we can't control any of this, right? I mean, we can talk about it. Maybe somebody listens, maybe they don't, but this is what being, you know, doing your own work, it looks like, right? I mean, people can go interact with that contract and do what they want to do. Now, I would prefer if they had waited, but it's probably a good bet that there's nothing negative about the OA having HEX in the future that they could end stake. I
would like to wait, you know, on the 15th day that all the Hexicans get like one penalty day out of the OA, and the rest
would be
is
nice.
there for the OA. And it is also like to have a look. Will the OA do something, you know, in the 14 days grace period? And if not, then okay, on the 15th day, you can run the good accounting function, and then give like also a nice higher payout for this day for the community. It would be like, I don't know, like 0.1 more or something like that.
Well, yeah, and we have some experience bias going on too. Like we all assume we know what the OA is going to do. And so that's proven in the past to not be the right tack to take, at least for me when I thought I knew. So that these same addresses, you know, so for anybody who thinks that there was a theory at one point that these are all automated addresses, right? And there's some bot or something that's managing everything, and there's no hands-on. But these are the same addresses that claimed and minted Hadron. So you know, it's obvious to me that somebody can do something if they want to do something, right? Whoever's controlling it. So the OA did not end this last one. So you're right. Around Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving, which is end of November, we do have a series of stakes. I think there's 8 more that the OA has that are coming out, and the OA could end. And if the OA ends, we'll see a pretty sharp increase, 600-700, maybe more, and T-share rate. But if the OA doesn't take any action, then we won't see that. So it's waiting game to see what happens with that staker, which is kind of different than like a regular person, a regular staker, you know, because you can look at somebody else's stake and look at it and say, well, they haven't been back for, you know, 2 years. they may not come back at all. There's no activity on that wallet. Or if you see that they've been active, in the last few days, it's more than likely they're going to unstick. But yeah, it should
How
be
much
exciting.
that's an excellent point. So just because the OA has been good accounted by somebody else doesn't mean that that pushes up the share rate until the OA actually ends the stake itself. The good accounting is something that stops the stake from bleeding out, which is why it's set up that way, so that in some
It removes the shares.
tax jurisdictions, there's a benefit to not mincing the hex out again. But I think it's fascinating that the T-share rate doesn't go up until the OA takes action on its own stakes for that potential increase. Now, the share rate, of course, goes up when other people use the system. ChrispyMan, do you have a sense of how much the T-share rate would go up if the OA ended stakes that have been good accounted already?
I'd have to go back and calculate it.
No,
and
it won't
go.
change anything. It won't change anything because that was last year in November, and since last year in November, the T-share rate already went up so much that it won't make any change right now. It would only make a change if the OA end stakes it. What do you say? Like until February, and after February, it won't matter anymore. And we know that the OA always has this period of time in the end of November. So the last OA stakes last year, which are still only good accounted, if they would be ended right now, it would have no impact on the T-share rate whatsoever, because it's already like a year in the past, and in this year the T-share rate already scooped up a lot.
True. With one exception, is this October stake. It's still possible if the OA came and ended that October stake, it'll pump it up. And I don't have the exact number, Maddie, but it would be whatever its max was at that time. I can go look it up though. So maybe it would go up 500 or something. Maybe 300. We go look and see, but
somebody was joking in the comments that people should wait 2 years and then good account. So I put them in timeout for 5 minutes because I don't think it's good to joke about that. There could be people who are reading the comments trying to learn about the system, and they wouldn't understand the joke, and they would lose a lot of money that way. So I'm not
let's
blogging that person
explain.
for joking.
Let's explain the joke a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
for regular stakes outside the OA stakes, for example, it is beneficial if nobody good accounts them, and if we wait the 2 years after their actual end date was, and then good accounted. Because if you don't end your stake for a period of 100 weeks or 102 weeks, which is basically 2 years, then the code, the hex code, would put all of your principal plus all of your accrued interest as a penalty, and putting like all of this amount in total to on top of this day's daily payout. And what it does for this user who forgot, maybe he remembers like in 5 years, in 7 years, or something like that, then if he comes back, he would not find any hex to dump on the market, because we waited the 2 years, and that's why this user is not getting any hex out of it if he comes back and wants to end stake the stake.
Yeah. Well, you remember you helped me with a document that I wrote up a while ago. I put it up on the site, the text of that. Basically going through and explaining why we should and shouldn't. But at that point, we had like 1 billion hex that was in the good accounting pool. Expired stakes that were bleeding out, but in kind of a holding pattern. So pretty much they've rejected that idea. So in general, the community has rejected it, or a small portion of it has rejected the idea of waiting. And you can see, these days, usually, not always, but usually we see these days, there's a couple million hex penalties. Those are coming from good accountings that people are doing against other addresses. and they're not waiting, right? So they're, you can look at the examples. Like we didn't get any today, right, on the 11-1 day. But the day before, we had a couple of them that went through, and it paid out maybe 800, 900K in penalties. And you can see that day after day after day. Somebody's going through and doing it. And those stakes, progress was, I guess I don't have progress on here, but they're 100% progress. But one of them is only late 283 days. The other one 472. So there is someone or some group of people that are actively reducing those expired stakes.
Yeah, which
And we
might be a
have
good idea, when we are at 5 Gwei on the weekend, for example, because then the end staking fee for those stake will only cost you like 35, 40 bucks maybe.
So we have
One thing.
Carlos Bridges here. He's saying, I thought the T-share rate goes up when you good account. And is it fair to say that the T-share rate only goes up when the HEX is being minted into existence? Because that's when the T-share, the smart contract actually looks into the stake and checks if this particular staker can get more T-shirts, if yes or no, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that.
You're correct.
Yeah. And the second thing is that when you run the good accounting function, which happens is you remove the shares of the total share pool. And doing that increases the daily payout a little bit, because a day later, we will still have like nearly the same amount of HEX in total, which gets paid out to the pool of all the shares. And if we reduce this pool of all the shares, our piece of the whole pie gets a little bigger.
Yeah, I mean, you can. It does not do it directly. It's just like Abe had said, like you just agreed to, Patrick, that unless the end stake function is run, you don't get the new share rate function run. However, there is maybe a little bit of an effect, right? Because you relatively have more yield, and if there is a penalty and it gets paid out, the other stakes that will end will inch up just a little bit, but it's not going to be significant, right? It's just more of the same.
Yeah,
it's my
good
favorite topic.
for people to know the intricacies, especially on this show, where we dive into the deep details. Now, something that I really wanted to get you guys' feedback on are the changes that I've made to my project, which used to be called Smart Vault Me, and now it's called Time Pays Me. What do you guys think of the name change? Did I nail it?
I like the name more. I like it more.
Cool.
No, I already knew about it.
Well,
so I didn't know if you want me to.
I hope I don't cut out here.
Yeah, I just had some problem with my microphone here. I think it's great. I would love to hear more about it.
Well, you guys were two big influences on me to add incentives. I wouldn't have gotten the chance if I didn't go to the event that you guys helped save out here in Las Vegas. What was it, 6 weeks ago or maybe more?
It was at our crypto golf tournament, no, where we talked
That's
about
right.
it, and
yeah. And I talked to like 70 people at all the events that you guys put on, to get feedback one-on-one or in small groups from people. But it was Hex Lion particularly pushing back on me and just really helping me to understand how valuable it is to have an incentive. And you were right. I was hoping that people would time lock their Pulse Chain and Pulse Hex tokens because they realized the value of time locking, and that was not the best system that could have been designed. And so I'm happy to report that that the incentives are much better than before, because before it was all assuming that you would realize the incentives by being a long-term player. But I think in reality, we want to save people who are more short-term players, and we want to reward people even more who are long-term thinkers. And so one of the things that the data in Hex is how valuable the early end stake penalties have been, even though my system is a very different. The idea is that in time pays me, there is a 10% temptation that that you have once you lock up your coins, and so 10% can be taken out at any time. As you could think of it as like a loan from your future, because the loan gets paid back is the drip gets cut. Sorry if I'm freezing. Basically the drip gets cut in half in order the 10% that you took out early. So I'm calling the 10% that you take out early, I'm calling that an early payday. And so when you take the early payday, that's the only way that you'll ever pay a fee in the system. And so if you use the system because you can reverse a hack, if you use the system because you can time lock your Pulse Chain and Pulse X tokens, none of that is going to cost you anything. It's only when you take an early payday of 10% that then you're paying a 0.5%, or sorry, you're paying a 1% fee of your principal, which is 10% of the 10% that you're taking out early. And 10% of the fee that you're paying goes to me and my team, and 90% of it goes to the people who kept their 10%. Can you still hear me?
Yes, now we can. Yep.
Okay, my internet's cutting in and out. So basically, you would think that only a 1% fee that people can take optionally, that wouldn't lead to very much.
Uh-oh. I hope we don't see any memes. I don't hope we don't see any memes about this.
Yeah, I definitely can see why.
Yeah, Mehdi is speechless when he has the Germans on.
You guys stopped them up there, huh?
I know, here he is. He's back. Mehdi, can you hear us?
Oh,
it's getting
boy.
worse.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's getting worse there.
I'm getting the frame for
it's
this.
great to see Mehdi's development on this application, right? His idea, his philosophy is evolving, and I'm excited to see the finished product once it's out.
Yeah, I am too. Of course, we're all involved with HEX, so we know all about delaying gratification and getting things lined up, like doing your ladders and whatnot. And so I've been doing some research this week for the site to look at how people should, or how people do cost dollar average out, and what that looks like. So that looks like a combination of this, right? Because with time pays me, you have that ability to kind of manage and control what your drip is.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Like right when I need to be like explaining my product, that's when my internet cuts out. So of course, so basically, yeah. So basically, the idea is that you can earn trustless yield by just leaving your 10% in, and it doesn't seem like that would pay very well. But it turns out that even a really, really, really small fee that's paid in crypto can then become a huge reward for people later on, because the crypto can appreciate. If Pulse Chain does a 10,000x, then that means that the 1% that some people paid to take an early payday, that becomes much more valuable to the people who are getting paid out. And so there's it's actually it's so much. So when we go back and look at the hex data, we can see that on day 656, when there was the all-time high, the about 2.5% that you had gotten in emergency end stake penalties up until that point, being paid in hex terms would have given you basically a 19x on your principal with just that 2.5%. And that's not taking the all-time low. That's taking day 3 as the starting day. And so you can see that, like, even using extremely conservative numbers, it leads to these huge returns. And I think that the reality is that people, you know, if everybody participates, then like over 15 or 30 years, if you look at how the emergency end stake penalties would compare to your principal, you could see that if you gave up all your emergency end stake money, you could be diluted by like 50% after 15 or 30 years because of how powerful compound interest is. And so, like, giving up any yield that you could be getting in a system is like silly. And the fact that that the early payday fee that people are taking, they can take it 4 to 5 times during their 100% of time served, because it keeps regenerating. And whenever it regenerates, people can get yield again from other people taking their 10% out. And so it's a pretty cool system there, where people who are like gamblers who just like leave it alone, they would start being rewarded for not touching that. And that could give people like stronger, smarter hands to have that 10% that is separate from their drip that they can take at any time to try to time the market. And yeah, so I think like the more that Pulse Chain and PulseX appreciate, the more people would take the 10% out early, and then maybe try to trade the market and stuff. But then at the end of the day, that there could be a huge amount of rewards for people who leave their 10% in, and that'll be really exciting to see.
Maddie, one question to that. How long do the users have to lock up their Pulse or PulseX in the first place?
The design I have right now is that the minimum. Okay, so there's like the technical side of things, and then there's like what the user experiences. So like you can time lock your coins for 3 seconds, but then you have to wait a week to get them out because of the anti-hacker technology. And so it's easier for me. Did you hear that? Am I frozen?
It's easier for me, and then you ask if
So
you're
the
frozen.
minimum amount of time to lock is a week.
Okay, and there is no maximum.
The maximum might be 10 years or 30 years. I'm leaning towards 10 years right now.
And okay, yeah, and one more question. Is it possible that this kind of pay me later contract is also validating the pulse and staking the PulseX?
As long as there's no impermanent loss,
No, that's why
I
I'm speaking of
I
validating the
think it
pulse
can be
and
compatible.
staking the PulseX. Yeah, that's
Yes.
why validating the pulse and staking the PulseX. Nothing with earning fees in a liquidity pool or putting pulse and PulseX in a liquidity pool. No. Just that the amount of coins I deposit gets more over time.
Yes.
That's cool. That's because people would maybe like time log it or just leave it for 10 years, but then they would also choose to at least validate their pulse, that they don't have it like visible in their wallet. They just know it's there, and go that way, and then I think you will get way more traction for pay me later if you also offer these options.
Time pays me. Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, time pays me. Sorry.
Yes. Absolutely. Shout out to Art Morikawa, who is a huge supporter of the community. Yeah. So there's these huge incentives. Then there's the whole part where you can reverse a hack, and the way that that's been coded, right? Because I'm in production on the code, and I just got to see the code the other day, like a walkthrough with the dev, and I was just like, I was blown away by how incredible this shit is going to be. But anyway, like it's, I mean, we've probably got more code written to like prove that there are no bugs in the system than the amount of code that actually goes into it, because we've got literally like programmed in every single action that a user could ever take in the system to like prove to ourselves that there are no bugs. And so there's like that got me really excited too, as like a huge nerd over here trying to design something that's going to be perfect. It's like super helpful to know, yeah, we're going to pay for audits and all that. We're going to, you know, submit to Pulse Police. It's going to be like, you know, doing walkthroughs of the code once it's public and everything. Private testnet is something I'm going to be doing soon. Public testnet will probably be available and everything. And so like, but just to have every assurance possible that it's going to live up to its name. But yeah, when it comes to like reversing a hack, it looks like the way that that can be implemented without allowing trading is going to be to give you basically one extra life. Like you put in your own pre-selected recovery address that that could be your own cold storage wallet. It could be a friend or family member's address, but then that's the address that becomes the owner of the drip if you get hacked and you flip the switch to show that you basically it's like going into panic mode and saying like I got hacked, then you're basically cutting out the ability for your single recovery seed to be able to control that wallet. Now you need this other wallet to get involved.
Yeah, sounds cool. And I'm sure you're also like working on something like to write down, you know, something like a Medium article or a paper or anything like that, which lays out all the details in written form. Or
right now what I have is a tweet thread of 34 different tweets, and it's on twitter.com/timepaysme. And people can also go to the Telegram for Smart Vault Me or for Time Pays Me. You can go to allmylinks.com/timepaysme, and I will be adding more documentation as the code continues to be written and finalized, and we get everything right.
Mehdi, I had some technical issues here, so I did not fully understand everything. But do you have a rough timeline on when this product should be done?
No. I think that
Right.
that the fact
it's
that
ready when it's ready, no?
The fact that I'm going to get to play with it on testnet privately soon is like should give you some idea of where we're at. Most of the game theory has been coded, but not all of it. And then, you know, we're also we're adding, you know, some things that aren't so well advertised. Like for example, there's going to be a dead man switch so that you can have, and maybe it's only the advanced users who go into the user interface and can find where the settings are for your vault to be able to say like, if I have no activity in 1 year or 2 years, then, you know, like here's another address that can get control of my vault. And you know, and then remember that so that dead man switch, I don't think that's coded yet, but it's still, it's been designed. And then I also think that it'll be really exciting once we see how people can use these vaults to like onboard people. Think about onboarding somebody and you send them a vault. That vault uses you as the backup in case they get hacked, and now you don't even have to have a security conversation with them in the like to scare them before they put their money into this. It's like you know, a really nice way to help people out. And I mean, look, if you know, if somebody does a time
Maybe
lock for a week
one
and then
one
yeah,
question here. But we are only talking about Pulse or Pulse X. We are not talking about different coins like Hex or Hedron or Icasa, for example.
the original design is to be able to time like any ERC or PRC20 token. That's what we started
Okay.
with. We're realizing that in order to do that in the best way possible, that the V1 that we come out with is so we can get to market faster is going to be just Pulse Chain and Pulse X. And then we'll do a V2 that hopefully includes all or most ERC and PRC20s.
Yeah, because if you say like this contract can also like stake in the behalf of you when it comes to Hex, you know, if I put like a liquid Hex in there and say like, yeah, let's lock it for 10 years, contract makes a 10-year stake, for example, or even like putting perpetuals in there and have like something similar to the diamond hand system. And also like when it comes to Hedron and Icasa, you know, if I deposit like Hedron there, maybe the contract could stake the Hedron as well until the time frame like when I what I want, and same goes with Icasa. And you know the time frame what I want is not that 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 necessary when it comes to Hedron or Icasa, as I can end the stake any time I want to after a certain period of time. So it could just run there, you know, and just be in my vault until I decide to take that out, you know. And of course, with the game theory, you add on with the you need to decide how long you want to time log it for yourself, and then maybe with some coins you have like the possibilities of the 10%, and with other coins you might not have this possibility with the 10%, because or you have like a then other minimum time frames, you know, because let's say the user deposits a bunch of Hedron and you stake this Hedron and it's auto locked for 90 days, then you can like allow the user to make changes for those 90 days.
Yeah, I think these are all things that we want to consider when we make a V2 for coins other than Pulse Chain and Pulse X. Yeah.
So maybe another question I have for you before you completely freeze. What is your speculation when we see Pulse Chain and Pulse X live? Do you think this year or will it already be next year? Let's see if he heard me. Otherwise, I will just put this question to Mr. ChrispyMan up there. I hope you like this question a lot. I love
Patrick,
it.
as more and more I'm thinking of that, like we have this problem, right? Like it can come out sooner than we think, but it can also take a little longer, right? And this is probably why you're asking all the Hex influencers these questions right now, because we really don't know. I'm for sure that Richard Hart is not timing the market. I think he wants it to come out just as fast as possible, just as every Hexagon wants, and it's just not there yet. And the 25% needs to be massaged in and so on. So like you said today earlier, Patrick, it will come out when it come out. But it, in my point of view, it can totally come out like in, you know, December, January, something like this.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That was a nice view right now, Mehdi. You forked yourself.
That's right. Yeah, it's marketing.
That's it. Hey, I believe that be ready anytime. That's what I believe. But I have no inside knowledge, and it's going to happen when it happens. But it's likely that it'll get announced, and we'll have a go before I'm ready. So that's probably
And
what's going to happen.
the second speculative question I have for you guys is: do you think in the beginning of Pulse and Pulse X we will see prices below the average sacrifice price?
I don't, but
I don't think so either.
yeah, I think when it kicks off, I went with that theory a couple times with the math to look at what the value of ether is as compared to what we have in Pulse. And I just tend to think that when we first snap the line to contend on the liquidity providers, it'll probably be a high price with a dump. That's what I think.
Well, I think this time everything is different. When I started with HEX, there was only one streamer talking about it. And today we have a whole ecosystem of streamers regularly doing streams, doing conferences, doing workshops, doing all kinds of things. So the ecosystem that I see is totally different. On top of that, we have now projects and working on the Pulse chain. Like, it's just so totally different than anything else that has forked and came out, right? We had Ethereum proof of work, Ethereum Fair, which is a fork, but totally different from what we will see with Pulse chain. And that's why I'm so excited, because I see all those indicators that are lighting up right now for me that says this is going to be epic.
Oh, it's bullish, man. Yeah, even when I say, I would expect a drop in price, I don't know how long that would last. It might be a V-shaped recovery,
And one of the things I definitely learned here from this, one of the Medi streams, is that as longer it takes, actually it's more and more bullish, because we ramp up more users, right? And we onboard people into Pulse chain, even though it's not out yet. Those people buy HEX and all those other coins to then deploy it into Pulse chain. So yeah, actually, you may think it's bearish because it's not out today, it's not out next week, but actually I think as time goes by, it's more and more bullish because people get more excited.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, well, listen, I won't go into details with it, but we've been seeing some other stuff launch, and it got me the FOMO to think about, oh my God, what happens when Pulse does launch? Because there's quite a few people in our community that didn't have enough of whatever it is that they wanted, and so I expect there to be a huge amount of chaos just from the ratio trading. And I'm happy to participate a little bit in that to correct my own position, and then, but after that, once we go to pricing, man, I don't know. We're just going to have to see. But what layer one is there any layer one that actually on launch was a quote unquote a failure? No one's spoken of one, right? And Maddie has his go-to chart to show us the X's, for that stuff. So I mean, there isn't anything. There's nothing.
There's tons of layer ones
bullish.
that have failed so hard we never heard of them. But of the ones that succeeded, some of them did really, really well, as you can see from this chart that should be popping up.
Yep.
It popped.
Now I included Bitcoin and Ethereum to skew the numbers there on layer ones. So we see layer ones went up thousands of X, hundreds of thousands of X if you include Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Which price is the base price? Which price is the base price? The price of their ICO or the price of their all-time low, or what is the base price of this stat?
Well, from the BTC, I can tell it's from the price that was what, a penny. Yeah, that's using a penny.
Yeah, that looks like a penny.
Now
that's using
Bitcoin
a penny.
probably traded for like 7/10 of a penny at some places in its history, but
because
but
I'm pretty sure
a fair number to use.
Ethereum is the all-time low. I'm pretty sure Ethereum is the all-time low. With BNB, I'm not sure. I think it's not the all-time low, because BNB definitely did more than 10x in the last bull market.
Yeah, I don't stand by any of these numbers, just to be clear.
Yeah. I'm just wondering from where they are calculated, if they're calculated from their pre-launch price, or if they're calculated from their all-time low on the price chart.
I basically stole the numbers from a meme. and then added to them.
It's
So
all good. Yeah.
And which one was the 5x?
The Bitcoin and Ethereum are the ones that I calculated myself.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the lowest one out of all these is what, like a 10x of the ones that perform super well. So that doesn't tell you much, but
Well, I
it
have
tells
no
you how
doubt.
high you can go. That's the
Yeah.
point of that.
I don't even, yeah, it probably doesn't even tell you that because things could go much higher, right? But it gives us a little bit of track record. Hey, listen, I said this to somebody the other day. Maybe it wasn't you, Maddie. Maybe it was. I have to stop myself from being a little bit too conservative in my thinking, because my planning is conservative planning. But when I think about crypto has the opportunity to do so much more, particularly with what we're doing with PulseX and Pulse. So really, I wouldn't be surprised by any number. You know.
Well, Richard Hart says that crypto can go higher than we ever imagined, right? Somebody said here in the comments, how much did somebody do with Bitcoin by just clicking on a keyboard and minting Bitcoin? And I think it is 6.5 million X, right? I don't know for sure, but this is the
6.9.
exactly the thing with crypto. You have so high returns, right? The number can go up so high that it actually doesn't matter on when it launches. It also doesn't matter on how much money you put in. The most thing that matters is that you find the right decision to make and then actually execute a decision, right? Like, let's get into Hex because it has product market fit, because it has no admin keys and so on. So really actually making a decision, the most important thing here in crypto, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that for sure. Not tend to, I do agree with you. It's crazy, right? Because you guys have been around a long time, as Maddie and I have been, and it was inconceivable that we were going to get to 10,000x, even though we talked about 10,000x ad nauseum, right? In the back of our minds, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, really going to be able to do that? Now, of course, human nature is that's happened, and now everybody's like, oh yeah, it's a given, 10,000x. That's like a no-brainer, easy thing to do, but it'll never do it again, right? So I don't see what much difference between being that guy who couldn't conceive it before and being the guy who can't conceive it now, right? It's still that
Why not?
barrier in my brain, right? It's so what I'm getting at, Patrick, is yeah, anything's possible is what I'm getting at. Another 10,000x of any of our tokens is a possibility, or coins.
How much is 10,000x times 10,000x?
Isn't that
A million?
1 million? No, 100 million.
100 million. Yes.
Yeah, 100 million.
So that
100
would be
million.
100 million X. Just 100 million X. Yeah. Bitcoin after the course of 12 years did less than 7 million. So I sorry to say that, guys. Yeah, I don't want to fuck my own portfolio, but I really also don't believe in another 10,000x from the 10,000x all-time high. From this point, yes, but like from the all-time high, another 10,000x, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was just about to say we are at a different point right now, right? We dropped 95%. So from this point on, since Hex has bottomed out, I think we can do another 10,000x from here on. Yeah. And also, Patrick, you should not forget, Hex is a better product than Bitcoin, right? So why should it not outperform Bitcoin during the same life cycle? That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, probably for the listeners here too, whether you agree, if you disagree with another 10,000x, that's not a good enough reason to not participate. So
yeah, that's absolutely not a reason that I'm not participating in Hex anymore or something like that. So like, it's an awesome. It's still the best system I can think about for passive income streams. But yeah, I am a little more realistic, where I don't see a price of what would it be, like 50 cents. So we would be at $5, $50, $500. It would be like a price of $5,500. So yeah, maybe in, I don't know when, one hex might be $5,555. I'm pretty sure that the community would celebrate that a lot.
Well, I think what Abit was saying is correct about Hex being a excellent product. I just hear way too many people use as justification that Hex won't do another 10,000x, so I'm going to go invest in something else. And it's
Yeah,
just, it
that's
doesn't
also not.
make any sense to me, and I can't, I do try, and some people listen, but most are going to go their own way,
What would 10,000x the number of stakers be?
No, that's at $1 billion or something. Was 100,000
who
times
knows?
10.
Who knows?
I
There's so
would say
many.
less than a billion, but 100,000. Yeah, 100,000 times and 4 zeros. Yeah, then it's a billion. Yeah, then you're right, bro. Yeah, but
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
think that
because
you
there
need
is,
so many.
it's more that's more like an exponential function, like price versus uses. So
So we probably need half of that,
maybe yeah, or 10% of that, like 100
or
million
10%.
users might be it. Yeah, because if you get
Easy.
100 million stakers, so like staking addresses in Hex, then it would be bigger than the whole crypto market right now, right? Because it
Done.
has like less than 100 million active users.
Let's
Way
go.
One of the
less.
most bullishest things that for me are going on right now are all the HSIs that we are making and sending Hex 5555 into the future, or all the pools that we have, right? Maxi started out as a huge success. The pools locked up even more Hex. And this was all stuff that Richard Hart was not thinking of when he designed Hex, right? Those are things that then came later on and made Hex just even better. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if we have all like really digested what happened here with how much Hex was locked up here and how much Hex can actually now go up in the future because of all those stakes that has been made, and all those sell pressure that would occur in the future is now not gonna happen.
Here's a question for you guys. If there wasn't any time locking in Hex, how much worse would you be doing?
Can you say that again?
Way worse. Because then you are also assuming, or do you assume like no staking at all? Because like, I mean,
No staking.
yeah, way worse because yeah, I mean, let's say it like that. I only cashed out a percentage of accrued interest, like when it comes to the accrued Hex gains. So I would do way worse. Yeah, for example, I with sacrificing for Pulse, with sacrificing for Pulse X, also with living out of my Hex portfolio. I still have more Hex than a year ago, than before the tour started, for example. And during the tour, like a little bit before the tour, Pulse Chain Sacrifice was. Then during the tour, we spent a lot of our accrued interest, honestly, because we self-financed it. Then Pulse X came around, so yeah, and then the bear market came around. So I'm pretty happy that I still have more X than a year ago, and only the staking mechanism is making this possible.
Well, that's why I believe that even if only 10% of tokens get locked up with time pays me, that after the first 100x, that 10% is going to become a huge portion of the number of tokens that survive, another 10x from there or something. That's what we saw in Hex, that like 75% of user controlled coins seem to be time locked now, and it didn't start out that way. And it's the price appreciation and the ability for people to time lock.
Sorry, Mehdi. What do you say? It didn't start out that way. A few months into Hex, like in March 2020, we had like the one of the highest staking rates.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that it's come down over time?
During the launch phase, it came down. Yes. So it at one point in late December 2020, might be 80% of all the Hex in existence was locked. So like the how does it go, the Hex ratio, the staking ratio was it 80%, and right now we are like at 9%, because it was like also like throughout the launch period, like before the big
I'm talking
payday,
about user controlled
before all.
coins. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
I mean,
user
we
controlled
didn't
coins.
we didn't had an audit back then, but yeah, most of those coins were user controlled coins. I mean, of
I'm
course,
not talking about
it
December. I'm
also
talking about from
it,
the
yeah.
beginning. I'm talking about from day 3 or day 100 or day 150. Like I remember that I didn't get the clue to start time locking until Richard said something on a live stream about 6 months in. He was like, well, the big payday is coming up, in 6 months from now, and like people are going to start locking down these TShares and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I started time locking myself. I assume just by looking at the stats and by talking to other people that a lot of other OGs like weren't really incentivized even by the APY at the very beginning.
Yeah, because the
Like in the
staking
first
ratio
10
was so
days or
high,
something.
and the total supply was low still, and the
Oh,
daily
okay.
payout is
All right.
calculated on the total supply.
Well, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that from an individual's point of view, if you don't time lock, then you might get shaken out by the price going up or the price going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where the majority of the APY comes from, although people still need to be incentivized to do the right thing.
Yeah,
Shout out
that's
to
also
Art for becoming a member.
yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. You rock.
What I wanted to say is that's why I love these systems, where you can make more money with your money, where you can actively put your coins to work as well, where you don't just buy it and then you wait it and hope that the price goes up and then you can sell it at a higher price. So that was also like initially one of the things which excited me a lot about Hex. So for example, I was done with my whole staking ladder before got whale bought the first time.
Awesome.
Or before
Yeah.
there was a
Yeah, that
calendar
was an
feature
exciting time.
at go.hex.com, go.hex.win back then still.
I've really appreciated having you guys on, and I hope I can actually get you back sometime soon because you guys are so knowledgeable about like the ongoing events in the ecosystem. You do your homework to the extreme degree of knowing these systems inside and out, and you guys are out there doing really great work for the community, and I can definitely say I'm proud to be a Hexican and a Pulsican, especially because of you guys and the following and the events that you've created. So
Very true.
thank you guys so much for being on.
Thanks.
Can you guys shill again, and I'll tell everybody to get the hell out of my streams now and forever if you don't subscribe to these guys on screen right now.
Sure,
Well, funny enough is that I was planning the next episode of the 5555 tour right after the stream, but in the background here I messed up a little bit. In 2 minutes the video will get live. I cannot stop it anymore. So actually it turns out perfectly that the stream is ending right now. How funny is that? Guys, we are working really, really hard in the background to make the Million Pulse tour happen, to make the Hex Cruise happen, or the Hex birthday. And all the love that you are showing us by subscribing to KSB TV, for example, by liking the 5555 tour documentary and so on. All those efforts will help to pump your bank, because the Million Pulse tour is not fully done yet. We still have to plan on that. So we still need a lot of participation from the Hexicans. So there's a lot of time that we can spend on making the Million Pulse tour a big event like we have never seen before. So Mehdi, I want to say thank you for having KSB TV on today. That helps a lot, bringing out the word on what we are doing. And right now I would like everybody to click on that link that Mehdi has provided here in the chat, because there you will see the episode 5 of the first season started already. The intro is going on right now, and then we can all watch the episode together. So thank you, Mehdi, for having us on.
My pleasure. Yeah, thanks for being here. ChrispyMan, as always, thank you for all you do. Thanks
get your TShares. Get your TShares now. That'll be 25,000 tomorrow.
So
new milestone.
Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Bye bye, everybody.
Mm.